Welcome to Afterlife Café TV, connecting hearts, healing souls, and bridging worlds. I'm your host, Helen Peacock, and this is your sacred grounds, a warm, welcoming space where you're invited to take a seat, exhale, and just be. Each week, we will gather cafe style for heartfelt conversations, some mediumship, and maybe some intuitive insights and soulful storytelling that explore the afterlife, some healing, grieving, and the unbreakable bond between us and those in spirit. Here, laughter and tears are both welcome. Love transcends time, and spirit meets us in the most human of ways. So if you're seeking comfort, connection, or a deeper trust in your own inner knowing, you're in the right place. So pour yourself something warm and let's begin. Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to my very first show. Before I begin, the subject that I want to talk about today with my guest is all about signs and why do signs show up when we least expect them. And my guest is perfect for this first show because it's because of signs how we met. And so just to give a little bit of a background before I introduce him, his name is Jonathan Carroll, and he's a conscious leadership coach, best-selling author of Way of the Dragonfly 101 Maxims for leading a high vibrational and conscious life, and a multi-brand entrepreneur. Through his private coaching practice and international retreats, he guides leaders and entrepreneurs into deeper alignment with their energy, purpose, and authentic power. His work sits at the intersection of transformation and practical strategy. A deep believer in the power of community and authentic expression, Jonathan founded the Dragonfly Club as a space where conscious leaders come together to grow, create, and rise in alliance with one another. His philosophy is simple. Conscious leadership isn't a concept to study, it's a way of living. And as he often says, lights will find lights. And that's exactly what happened to Jonathan and I. Welcome, Jonathan, to my very first show. I'm so excited to have you.
I am ecstatic to be here, and I thank you so much for the invitation.
Well, it just only made sense. And I believe I got the sign to ask you.
Indeed, you did.
Yes. And so I just want to show for our viewers, this is the book that Jonathan is known for, best-selling author, Way of the Dragonfly, 101 Maxims for Leading a High Vibrational and Conscious Life. And let me tell you, everyone needs to have this in their back pocket. Everyone needs to have this by their bedside table, by their kitchen, wherever you read your books, or even if you're wanting a message from the spirit realm, a certain kind of a guide. I kind of like to treat it like a tarot book. I just put it out there and ask for the universe, okay, what do I need to know right now? And then I just turn to the page. And this one right now, trust your unique journey. That's the one I just opened to. So very exciting. So just a little bit of a backstory before we begin, just for my listeners and my viewers of how we met, because that's one of the reasons why we're here. And so what happened was in the summertime, I had actually shared a post of what happened to me just before I was getting ready to read for my clients. And I was sitting outside in the sunlight. And while I was sitting on my steps, this dragonfly just kind of came out of nowhere and landed like right on my third eye and sat there and would not move. And I'm just like, what the? And I was just blown away. And I was in this state of bliss and gratitude. This dragonfly would not leave me. And to me, I've had some very strong spiritual connections regarding dragonflies in the past. Beautiful. And so I knew it meant something. I didn't know what. And as I always say, you don't have to know the answers right away. They'll come to you when you're ready. And so I happened to share that on my social media, and a friend of ours, well, now she's a friend of ours, Elvira, she happened to reach out to me once she read the post and says, Helen, you have to contact my friend Jonathan. this sign that you just received, I believe that it's for you two to connect. So I followed through. I went to your social media and I got the chills. It's like, oh, there's something here. And so that's our story. That's how we met. That's light attracts light because Jonathan is just a beautiful light himself. So, again, that's how we met and just wanted to share that with you. So, thank you again, Jonathan, for
Oh,
being there
thank
for
you so
me.
much. Yeah, thank you so much. It was such a cool way to be introduced to somebody, but also how we very quickly nerded out on all things Dragonfly.
Yeah. Now, do you want to share with us very quickly, like how you came about the dragonfly for you in regards to your book? Like, what kind of signs led for you in that way?
Yeah, there's a section in my book in the introduction that talks about how the dragonfly came to be such a significant symbol for me, a
Mm-hmm.
sign. And I'll wind the clock back to when I was a kid for starters, because something else I say is your life is leaving you clues. And so I want to go back
Yes.
to one of the earliest clues so we can figure out where these signs started coming from. So when I was probably about 12 years old, somewhere in that range, we played in our backyard, had a ravine going through it, a green
Mm-hmm.
space. And so all the kids in the neighborhood would play G.I. Joe. You know, we'd run around and play capture the flag and all kinds of different things in this green space, but one of which was G.I. Joe, which is a popular cartoon at the time, all about army and war characters and so on. But the characters on the cartoon all had these really cool nicknames like Dusty and Snake Eyes and Cobra and all these different cool names. And so when we were playing, my code name as a G.I. Joe character in our neighborhood was codename Dragonfly. And I remember at the time my why they were significant at the time. I was a, you know, young preteen kid that just loved all things outdoors and insects and so on. And I remember my Irish uncle visiting and using like he was describing them as helicopters, but he'd say helicopter. And it was just a funny way. It wasn't his accent. He was calling it a helicopter and just being a jokester. But it stuck in my head. And I remember thinking specifically, like, that's probably the coolest insect, the one that's closest to the helicopter, because I also was watching Magnum PI at the time and helicopters were cool.
Mm.
Fast forward the clock now into like probably 7 or 8 years ago, and I'm going through a spiritual awakening, the dark night of the soul, the questions with no answers. And um, I was listening to a lot of Gabrielle Bernstein at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and one of her practices is to choose a sign from the universe to let you know when you're on track. You know, so one of her famous books is The Universe Has Your Back. Well, how do you know? Well, look for a sign, ask for one. And so the example she uses to pick a sign from nature, something that's somewhat obscure, you're
Mm-hmm.
not going to see every day, so not a dog. And then when you see that sign, you know that the universe is giving you positive affirmation that you're either on track or it's a yes or it's a whatever your kind of question was or inquiry at the time. And so, of course, I chose the dragonfly because it had been a thread through my past, and I love
Mm-hmm.
dragonflies. But now all of a sudden, they took on this really brand new meaning, and I started seeing dragonflies all the time,
Mm-hmm.
everywhere, in various different places. The first of which, after choosing this sign, was, and I was, keep in mind, going through the spiritual awakening, and so opening myself to things I'd never tried before, one of which was Reiki. So I go to my first ever Reiki treatment. And when I'm getting off the table, my Reiki practitioner is now a dear friend. And she says to me, take your time. I'm going to wait outside. We can have a chat when you come out. So as I'm collecting myself and getting off the table and so on, I notice that there's a matchbox and a paperweight on her altar, both of which have dragonfly, big ones on them. And I'm like, whoa, can I take a photo of these? They're
Mm-hmm.
kind of like an important symbol for me, kind of a universal sign. I don't even know what I'm saying at the time. But I explained to her that, like, if you don't mind, I'd love to take a photo. And she's like, oh yeah, dragonflies, transformation, da 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 da. And she goes on and on. And I was like, what? What? And I had just completed naming my coaching company Tidal Transformation. because I love the ocean. I'm a water
Mm-hmm.
sign. Inside the T for tidal transformation was a dragonfly, only out of sheer love for the
Mm-hmm.
insect.
Mm-hmm.
Later, like this moment with my Reiki master, find out that it not only represents transformation, but it's in my logo now that says tidal transformation, unbeknownst to me of its symbolism. So I freak out, and then I start seeing these dragonflies everywhere. There's a passage that she reads me. I'll read it to you real quick too. Oh, and she says, "Oh yeah, dragonfly transformation," and then she pulls this thing up on the web, like the dragonfly
Mm-hmm.
totem, and reads it to me. This is from the introduction in the book. The dragonfly in almost every part of the world symbolizes change, specifically the kind of change that stems from mental and emotional maturity, leading to deeper self-realization. Its flight across water represents the act of going beyond the surface and exploring the deeper meanings of life. And that just was like this,
Confirmation right there.
well, yeah. So now not only am I seeing these signs everywhere, but then trans, you know, come a few more years into the future and a few years ago, and this entire brand and legacy starts forming around the dragonfly after I've done some different plant medicines and so on. And it becomes clear that I'm here to channel my message
Mm-hmm.
through the symbolism of the dragonfly. So reaching our highest self, our most authentic expression, flight, full color,
Full,
etc.
yeah.
That is the dragonfly.
You know what I love about this, Jonathan, is the fact that you chose the sign to give you the
Mm.
confirmation. And some people will just rather just put it out there. Well, if I'm meant to do it, then I'll get the sign. But that's one thing I like for my listeners and my viewers to know is that you can choose your signs. You can choose your own sign for your spirit guide, choose your own sign from, your loved ones in spirit. But also I find that a lot of people think that the sign will only show up as an actual flying dragonfly, but you just mentioned a really perfect good example, and that is you also saw it on, was it, you said a rock
Oh
when you're
my
on the
God.
boat?
Matchbox, a
Matchbox, that's what it
paperweight,
was. A
my
paperweight.
my niece's pajamas, her little chair in the backyard, on a
Exactly.
on a tin that had a bunch of trinkets inside of it, on a woman's necklace, on another woman's earrings. I mean, you name it, signs started just showing
So,
up.
and that's what I love about it. So many different variations of how that sign showed up for you. Now, just for my listeners, did you go looking for the signs or did they just appear?
Uh, Both. I mean, they really just appear because I
Mm-hmm.
can't summon the dragonfly. But of course, now I'm tuned in, right? Like
Yes.
we're on a
That's
frequency and
that. So at the same
dragonfly,
frequency. Yeah.
yeah, and it's sort of like um, the universe and I are now speaking a language
Oh, I
called
love that.
signs,
Yes.
and my specific dialect happens to be dragonfly because I
Mm-hmm.
get it. I know what it means. But I'm also noticing everything, like street signs, angel numbers, repeat numbers, double letters, this, that, and the other.
So you're
Um,
trusting. You're trusting that you're being led through these signs. And
yeah,
here's the secret is being aware of the signs. Like
yeah.
I have to share with you what happened to me the other day. Actually, there was one that happened today. And that was I was shopping at Goodness Me and I was walking through and all of a sudden I heard the song in the store playing. And it's one of my favorite songs. Actually, I think you played it in one of our courses. And that was Over the Rainbow, but the Izzy version from Hawaii.
Oh, yeah, I love that
Jiminy talks the way he sings it,
one.
right? With the is it the ukulele, right?
Yeah,
So that's one of my favorite songs. And so while I'm shopping, all of a sudden I heard that song, which brought me back to Hawaii, which brought me back to my girlfriend who I spent my vacation in Hawaii with because she was living there at the time. And guess what? This was all today, and today is her birthday.
oh, bless. How
So it was
cool is
like
that?
giving me the nudge. I'm like, oh, I got to reach out to Karen. Just that little nudge right there. it was just like, thank you, thank you, thank you, knowing that it's her loved ones coming through, reminding me to give her that call. And so I did that. But then there was another one that happened to me. When was it? On Friday. Was it Friday? I think it was Friday. And so again, I'm shopping through the mall, and as I'm walking, I see the sign. So here in Canada, we have a Shoppers Drug Mart. And as I'm walking, I noticed three of the letters from Shoppers was not lit up. And immediately I just got this inner knowing, and I'm looking at it and I'm looking at it. I'm like, this means something. OPP. And I'm like, oh, OPP. And all of a sudden I realized I knew it was a nudge. And I'm like, I know where this is going. And I started to laugh. And what it meant to me is that my girlfriend's father in spirit was an OPP officer, and I was seeing her for dinner the
No, I
same
love it.
day.
I love these
So
things.
that's what I'm trying to say. And so of course I'm like, do you see the sign on the
Yeah.
sign? Right. And having the sense of humor and knowing that my friend Bev, who by the way is also another psychic medium who will be on this show as well, and she
Hey.
absolutely loved it. She was just like, that's my dad. Right. So that's why I wanted to share that with you, because there's just so many different ways that signs like to show up. And sometimes, do you find that when you get signs, do you sometimes think, do you overthink it? Do you try to overanalyze it, or you just kind of let it just sit?
No. At this point, I'll use the example of the dragonfly. This is kind of what we're talking about, but I will regularly now see dragonflies. I mean, I also travel,
Mm-hmm.
I follow the sun. So I don't really do too many winters anymore. So I'm often in places where dragonflies eventually being in season after a rain or at some point. And I'll just be in Canada. I'm here in Ecuador right now. I'll be out. I see a dragonfly, and it's kind of like a wink. I don't need to go into deep
The wink.
details. Yeah, I
Yes.
know. It's just I
The wink
literally
from
go.
heaven.
I put a smile on my face. I see the dragonfly go by, and it's like I wanna.
I
It's
like
like one of
that.
these. Like keep going, bud. And then I might even just go like, what's happening in my life right now? Let me go back this morning or yesterday or this week or whatever's present right now, and I just think like I'm probably overthinking everything, and the
Mm,
dragonfly is just there to be like cruising by and go like, "You're good, bud."
I
Like
like
that's it.
that.
It's you're good, bud.
I like that. It's kind of like letting you know too that you're not alone, right? That
Yeah.
you have your team, you have your spirit guides, you have your loved ones. It just reminds us. And I find sometimes that's what happens, especially, and I find that I'm going to say the most two famous signs that spirit loves to give us, and that's anyone that I talk to, red cardinals.
Oh
And
yeah.
usually that's more for the father figure, but I find a lot of people have a strong association to red cardinals. Another one in Canada, it's dimes, because pennies are no longer in circulation. So have you ever heard the term? I'm going to show my age here now. Have you ever heard the term pennies from heaven?
Hmm.
Right. Well, here in Canada, because, well, I hear the US, they're getting rid of their pennies as well. So now a lot of the popular signs showing up again when you least expect it are dimes. Right. So I usually say to my clients, okay, so are you, especially if they're seeing the signs, I say, are you seeing the signs? Yep, I'm getting them all the time. And I said, so what are you getting? And they're like, because I'll say, are you getting dimes? And like, yes, I get them all the time. I said, so what do you say after you receive the dimes? And they're like, nothing. I'm like, but you don't say hello, you don't say thank you, because that is what they want, right? Spirit wants to be acknowledged. Every time you receive a sign, you must say thank you, because it's like they're cheering you on. It's like, yes, they got the sign, right? And then after a while, I'll say, okay, so why don't you, your wish is your command. Why don't you start asking for $20 bills now? Right? Go big or go home.
I
So,
love it.
but that's true too. Is like whenever you want something from spirit, I always say you have to ask, right?
Well, Helen, this is true for life. Everyone listening is probably interested to some extent in manifesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if we don't ask for things, we're not going to get them. The universe isn't
Exactly.
in the habit of just kind of like handing us stuff. There's kind of a co-creation or a conversation involved, right? We're in
Yeah.
dialogue with the universe and co-creating our reality. So there's got to be a playfulness, Our input needs to exist.
Yes. And the secret that I find with that is it's like making a declaration and putting it out there. And
Yeah.
then once you put it out there, you release it, you let it go, and then you trust it's going to unfold for you the way that it should. Don't try to figure out how it's going to appear for you. So when you put your trust into the universe, right, then that's when they're like, okay, she gets it. She's letting it go. She's leaving it up to us. And it's going to happen when it's supposed to happen. Whereas people would be like, some people would put it out there and then it's like, okay, I put it out there. It's been 10 minutes now, right? And or a
Yeah.
day, it's been a day. And it's like, well, then you're not trusting that the
We
universe
talked
is going to
about that
provide.
in our program. Yeah, the metamorphosis experience talked about the Amazon order, right? If the universe is Amazon, you put your order in, we have to trust that the order's been taken and now
Yep.
it's being sent for delivery. But what most people do is they're like, it's not on the doorstep, and I put the order in again, and now the universe is confused because you just put another order in. We
Mm-hmm.
thought we were
Mm-hmm.
serving up your first one. I found
And
this. I thought I had to bring this up for you.
oh, I love that. Was that just recent?
That was I think it was 2 summers ago
So that's just for my
in Canada.
listeners. This is Jonathan. He's just showing a picture of himself with a dragonfly on his finger, right? Yeah, you used to
That's
post
the
them.
one.
Yeah, even when you're up in Muskoka, I find that
That's Muskoka.
it's like oh, that was Muskoka? Sorry.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, are you attracting them? Do we have to have a certain frequency to attract them? I think I've shared it with you before, but I'll share it very quickly in with my viewers is one of the most magical experiences that I have had. Again, for spirit letting me know that I'm in the right place, I'm being guided, and that was. Have you ever heard of the Omega Center in Reichenbach, New York? No,
No.
Jonathan. How could you not have heard of the Omega Center? It's a very spiritual place. It's about I don't know. I'm gonna say maybe about 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. You have to go through the Catskills, I believe, if I remember correctly. But anyway, so I was going down there for training, right? When I was just starting out, and there was about three of us that drove down together. And when I arrived, the two girls were at the desk, they're registering. I had already registered. And I kind of looked over to my right, and there was a set of doors. And I just started by myself, just walking towards these doors. And as I walked through the door, it led me like right outside. And right in front of me, like right on the edge, was this forest. Nothing else was around. It was just a patch of grass and this forest. And so I just started to walk out and I'm standing there, just taking in the sunlight, just taking a few breaths. I opened my eyes, and Jonathan, I was surrounded by dragonflies spiraling around me. No joke. And I stood there. There was tears in my eyes. I became very emotional. And I was just like, I'm getting the goosies right now as I'm sharing this with you. And I knew in that moment that this was like my team. This is the spirit realm letting me know you are where you are meant to be. So yeah, that was beautiful.
Amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there are many people that probably see signs and shrug them off. Don't
Yeah.
realize that it could be a direct message from God, the universe, whatever your word is, and or might think it's coincidence or some kind of a
Coincidence. Yeah.
fluke, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so their belief system isn't maybe one that allows them to
Mm-hmm.
interpret it as a sign, as a direct message. It's more just like a random occurrence and shouldn't think too much of that. And so that's probably maybe an inroad and for a different day into a conversation about faith. Like
Faith.
what is it
Yes.
that gives
That
us faith?
helps.
There's a belief in some power that's greater than
I totally
myself. It's
agree.
not just a mathematical calculation that's random.
Yeah. And some people think that the signs have to like blast in your face and show up in your face. Well, look what happened to me with the OPP Shoppers Drug Mart. It was like the other side of the mall and I was walking towards it. So I'm just saying some signs can also be very, very subtle. Very, very
Oh,
subtle.
I love that you said that because there are probably times, I think of people's health, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
right? And we get signs all the time that we need to steer our health in probably a more positive direction. And so that's not always the easiest message for people to hear. And so they
Mm-hmm.
continue doing all the things that they maybe shouldn't be doing, and till such time as the signs get louder and the body starts to tell you a different
Yes.
story than it's been telling, or at a different volume, or at a different frequency, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the level of faith, you could even say your spiritual ballast, the belief system that you have, allows you to interpret probably smaller and smaller signs as a sign just as good, right?
Just as
Whereas
good.
if we're ignoring small signs because it's not quite, I don't know, I'm waiting for,
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting for the universe to give me a sign. What that dragonfly wasn't a good enough sign.
Yeah.
You need like a billboard or something like that. And so I think that that probably happens too, where people dismiss, dismiss, dismiss until such time as maybe they see something that they interpret as a big enough
Big
or a
enough
prominent
of
enough
a
sign.
megaphone. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas, I could see a dragonfly the size of a period on a
Probably good.
sentence, and I
Yeah.
would just be like, "Gotcha, bro."
With that
You're like,
wink. Yeah.
yeah.
And I find too that especially when I'm working with my clients, if they're not getting the signs or they're not, they're not feeling it. And I'll be honest, it sometimes has to be because of the heavy grieving. When you're grieving, your vibration, your frequency is a lot lower. It's heavier, it's more dense. Whereas in the spirit realm, it's a higher frequency, right? So it's more challenging for them to lower their vibration as it is for us to raise ours. So I like to say to my clients and my listeners and viewers is that when you want to have that connection with your loved ones and see the signs, set the intention by remembering your loved ones in a good way, in a very happy memory, something that
Mm,
lifts you up, makes you laugh, right?
right.
Play some music. So when you do raise your frequency, when you do raise your vibration, then you're more aware of the signs that are coming to you, because signs can come to us again in very many different ways and being open to it. But as I always, always say, that signs are not signs if you're looking for them, right?
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
again, and people will say that to me. It's just like, well, I'm not getting them. It's like, well, is it because you're looking for them? And then like, yeah. And I said, well, that's why. It's because you're
Yeah.
looking, right? It's listening to that little inner knowing that pops in your gut. And it's like, I just know that that was my dad. I don't know how I know. I just know because again, we're all psychic. So that's another psychic ability that's enhanced is that inner knowing that you know that that's a sign from your loved one.
Yeah, I like to distinguish between when you say it's because you're looking. So there's two versions of looking, right? There's the actively, like I'm going to go and hunt out for this dragonfly so I
Mm-hmm.
get my confirmation.
Yep.
And the general, I see, we're playing a game now. Now I am
Yes.
looking, right? I'm always
Thank
looking,
you for
but
that.
I'm not actively looking for
Yes.
the dragonfly. I'm just playing the game called looking for signs,
Looking for
right?
signs.
Yeah,
Yes.
like I get it enough now that I'm playing, and that's what looking means to me, but I'm not opening up magazines and sifting through waiting till I find that image. I
Yeah.
get that the universe's job is to surprise me and for me to receive the wink in the right moment.
Yes. You just said it because it's a nice closing for this. And that is spirit loves to play. They love to play with us. Right. And so that's why I say people are, again, if they're grieving or they're really sad, it's just like, no, they're trying to poke you. They're trying to connect with you in a very fun way. It doesn't have to be so, how should I say, like, again, showing up right in your face. Right. So I do have to get ready to wrap up, Jonathan. Is there anything that you want to share with my audience? How can they contact you? Did you want to do a little giveaway? We've got 1 minute left.
All of the above.
All
The
of the
universe likes
above.
to play, and so do I. So, let's give away a book. So, I'm going to welcome anybody who wants to join the Dragonfly Club, which we'll start to share more and more information from the Dragonfly Club in time. But for starters, people can go to a simple page, www.thedragonflyclub.com. Enter your name and email there. You'll get your first introductory email from me. And I'll just keep an eye out for all of the registrations that come from this
Love it.
podcast.
Okay.
And we'll give away a free book.
I love it.
So
I love it. And
can't
whoever
be
receives it, that's a sign. Whoever receives it, it's a
can't
sign.
receive it unless you're signed up. So
That's
that'd be
right.
awesome. www.thedragonflyclub.com, or find me, Jonathan Carroll, on Instagram, LinkedIn, and in person.
Well, thank you, Jonathan, for being my very, very first guest on my new show. I really
I'm
appreciate it.
so
And
happy for you.
also keep in mind, for my listeners and viewers, Jonathan does have a second book coming out. Did you want to quickly state what it is?
Yeah, so this is going to now turn into a series, and it will be the Dragonfly Club manifesting with the 7 Hermetic Principles. And there's a third journal on the way, a guided journal. So there should be 2 more Way of the Dragonfly in the series coming very soon. So if you're on the list by signing up, you'll get information when those go live.
So people sign up so you can get
I'll send you
a
sign.
I'll send you a sign. I love it. Okay, great. Well, thank you very much, Jonathan. Wish you well. Enjoy Ecuador. And I look forward to you're coming back here in May. That's what you said.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully there's no snow. Make sure there's no snow. Okay. Take care, Jonathan.
Thanks so much. Ciao, ciao.
To Afterlife Café TV, connecting hearts, healing souls, and bridging worlds. I'm Helen Peacock, and I am so grateful, yes, it makes my heart sing, that you chose to spend this time here with me. So, to continue the connection, I do invite you to tune in to the Transformation Talk Radio every Tuesday at 11 a.m. for new episodes. And you can also visit my website at helenpeacock.ca to find out more about my sessions, group readings, yes, even Zoom group readings, and perhaps some events I may be holding. And also, there will be a course on your psychic development, mediumship development, if you're interested in that. And just know that there are more ways to gather in our Sacred Grounds community, where you can also, again, find me at helenpeacock.ca. So, if this episode touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. It does help the space reach others who may need it too. So, until next time, trust the signs, stay curious, and remember, love never ends. It's just different.